In the early 1560s, the Persian architect Mirak Mirza Ghayas was commissioned by the great Mughal Emperor Akbar to build a tomb for his father, Emperor Humayun. The most beloved of Humayun's wives now wanted him to rest in a garden designed to replicate the Quranic paradise. This is the actual grave of the Emperor Humayun, around which the whole tomb complex was planned. It lay in the vicinity of the shrine of the great Sufi saint Ghazrat Nizamuddin Aulia. He had lived here and been buried here 200 years before Humayun, giving the locality its name. So it was that Nizamuddin, lying next to the river Yamuna, became the final resting place for Emperor Humayun. It was also the place where Amir Khusro Dehlavi, one of Hazrat Nizamuddin Aulia's most beloved disciples and the creator of Qawwali music, had laid the seeds of Hindustani culture. In the 16th century India, the tomb or dargah of Hazrat Nizamuddin Aulia was the center of a great churn where Sufi saints could sing songs of love as a feeling of release and abandon for a universal brotherhood. Today, Basti Hazrat Nizamuddin is a busy, bustling place alive with food, pilgrims and qawwali. But the Nizamuddin of today that lives with the Nizamuddin of the Middle Ages are really two separate and disconnected worlds. Many who live here are not sure where their next meal is coming from. So for them, the romance of a bygone era means nothing. If the true glory of Nizamuddin was to be brought back, it couldn't just be limited to repairing the walls of the emperor's tomb. It would have to lie in reconnecting the people to what Hazrat Nizamuddin really stood for: fraternity, plurality, and freedom from fear. That would be easily possible if the idea of conservation changed and became a story of people and not just that of monuments.
There is today a growing recognition of the relevance of multidisciplinary approaches to material culture with a view to evolving a holistic view of our past. In India, we need to evolve a more holistic understanding of conservation that combines our preservation efforts with the social and economic needs of the community.
In the eyes of many, the Nizamuddin Urban Renewal Project set itself an impossible set of tasks to achieve. The Nizamuddin cluster has over 100 monuments, making it the densest ensemble of medieval Islamic buildings in India. But preserving these monuments was not all. Here, restoration is as much about building schools and parks. Here, culture means reintroducing lost craft traditions to instill a source of sustenance and pride. Here, the preservation effort is as much about giving the youth a chance to learn English, improve their education and their prospects. It was a new way of seeing that had for long been in the bloodstream of the Aga Khan Trust for Culture, demonstrated in projects in cities such as Cairo, Kabul, Herat, leading to improved quality of life for local inhabitants. The restoration of the monuments was only the first step. For that, over 200,000 man-days of work have so far been undertaken by master craftsmen on the project. There are stone carvers, masons, plasterers, art conservators, gardeners, carpenters, and glaze tile makers working with engineers and conservation architects. Inside the main chamber of Humayun's tomb, it was much the same story of decay and layers of cement. 20th century tardiness covering 16th century splendor. Over 200,000 square feet of cement plaster was carefully removed from the walls, floors and domed ceilings and replaced with a traditional lime plaster prepared just as the Mughal builders had done centuries ago. The Mughal builders had originally dressed the 8 canopies with glaze tile to remind themselves of their Central Asian roots. But over time, this craft tradition was lost in India. It has taken almost 5 years of experimentation, research and training by Uzbek craftsmen to revive this lost craft and restore tile work where evidence of patterns had survived. Tile making is now part of the contemporary culture in the Ghazrat Nizamuddin Basti. The skies in Delhi were pouring acid rain and, coupled with centuries of neglect, had sunk their invisible grey teeth into the monument. That needed to be conserved with the same skills, tools, care and love that artisans in the 16th century employed. Though stone carving skills still existed, it was in decline due to lack of patronage. To ensure craft skills survived this generation, this had to change, and here craftsmen are central to the conservation effort.
ये हमारा खानदानी काम है, सदियों से करते चले आ रहे हैं। ये हमारा काम था, गांव में बहुत कम हो गया था। कई लोग हमारे भाई थे, बच्चे थे, उनको काम नहीं मिल रहा था। यहाँ हमको सहूलत मिली काम की तो काम बढ़ने लगा। मेरे पास शुरू किया था जब 4 बंदे थे। 4 के बाद में आगे काम बढ़ा, 8 हो गए। इसके बाद में निकासी का पत्थर मिला तो 20 हो गए। अब करीबन 50 बंदे मैंने बच्चे यहाँ से लेके तैयार कर दिए।
At Humayun's tomb, the facade was examined stone by stone to ensure minimum replacement of damaged stones. Eventually, nearly 10% stones of the facade were replaced with stones prepared using chisels similar to those used by the craftsmen in the 16th century. Past repairs to the vast sandstone paving of the upper platform had altered patterns and slopes, leading to water percolation to the chambers below. 80% of the 4,000 square meter sandstone flooring on the upper platform had to be lifted and then reset with a proper base, respecting the 16th century gradient and paving patterns. At the entrance of the World Heritage Site is another hidden jewel, the garden tomb of Sher Shah Suray's noble Isa Khan Niazi. Built in 1547, 20 years before Humayun's tomb. To restore this oasis of green required careful manual removal of 120,000 cubic feet of earth. To finally reveal a long forgotten treasure. India's earliest known sunken garden of the Persian tradition.
As a result of the project, what we realized is that the outstanding universal value of this site is that it's an ensemble of medieval Islamic tomb gardens. It's not one or two isolated buildings. So what we're doing now is undertaking conservation and landscape works on about 30 monuments and their setting, making this a very sort of an urban landscape approach to conservation as per the latest UNESCO resolutions, which have been inspired by this approach.
Gar jamale yar nabuwad, dar khayalash hum khusham. Could Amir Khusrau have been in this setting when he composed these lines? Now, the Sundar Nursery is at the heart of the Aga Khan Trust's work in Nizamuddin. And it is this setting that gives Delhi the gift of life like nothing else. The city of Delhi is home to over 13,000 parks, but Sundar Nursery will be a unique place offering not only green, peaceful environs, but ecological education unparalleled in diversity. This will be the city's first arboretum, or a botanical garden breeding wide variety of flora and fauna. Many derelict monuments hiding away in the recesses of the nursery are now being restored as part of the Aga Khan Trust for Culture's belief of planning for the wider urban landscape rather than isolated monuments.
The design has made itself. It has evolved from what is available on the site, and we have been very fortunate to have this existing landscape of dense vegetation and very interesting trees which are almost 100 years old. At the same time, we have this asset of the heritage. So really the design issue is not to harm anything, how to create a movement pattern, a series of spaces amongst these beautiful assets, and so that the design or what is designed does not really overpower what exists.
The real masterpiece of the project has been the work on the 14th century Ghazrat Nizamuddin Bauli. Built to serve the large congregations which gathered to listen to the Sufi saint, it is today hemmed in by encroachments all around. In 2008, its walls caved in as a result of centuries of neglect. This is when the multidisciplinary Aga Khan Development Network team stepped in to restore the structure and its immediate setting for posterity.
In 2008, we were at a juncture where the communities were very hesitant. They were unwilling to speak to us on relocation. But however, almost in a 2.5-year time span, we were able to build their trust through extensive community dialogue, transparencies between discussions with the government. And in 2010, 17 of these families were relocated to a relocation site called Savda Ghevra. So now we have reached a state where we've built enough trust amongst the community, and therefore there are now several families, several residents who come forward and tell us about heritage structures that need to be conserved.
By far, the most significant and risky challenge for the conservation team has been this 16th century marble tomb, the Chaussat Khamba. It is named after its 64 solid marble pillars that support 25 marble domes. The Mughal builders had used iron dowels to fix the marble to one another, but over time, with water percolation, the iron rested and burst much of the marble. To stop damage and secure the structure from certain collapse, this complicated restoration project has required surgical skills and precision.
So what we are doing here is that each and every stone is removed one by one, and before we remove them we actually take measurements and we number them on top before we remove them. Once the thing is done, then we kind of place it on the floor before we fix it back.
This gargantuan task took a team of 9 master craftsmen 8 months to repair just the first stone. But none of this restoration would have any meaning if it only cared to preserve the past in the midst of a decaying present. Along with the Mughal gardens, an ecological haven, 5 acres of neighborhood parks were brought back to life. The landscaping and reshaping of these parks has made such a significant difference that these once desolate and decrepit spaces have been transformed into frenetic football fields. And of course, cricket. All of these were built after first asking the people of Nizamuddin what they wanted. The women said they wanted a special Zanana Bagh all to themselves, so they don't have to think twice before stepping out of their homes. For many, this one step alone was the first taste of freedom. But all the parks and gardens would have no meaning if it went along seamlessly with open sewage, spilling out from the houses with no drains. Months of persuasion and debate led to the turning around of the garbage. From being dumped into the Nala, an effective waste management system has now been put in place wherein 600 households now pay a token amount to ensure proper garbage disposal. The overall healthcare, almost absent in this urban slum, needed urgent attention. At the MCD Polyclinic in the Basti, the project enabled the setting up of a pathology lab where 55,000 free-of-cost tests have so far been carried out. A major community health outreach program has been established, led by 50 women from within the community, all undergoing intensive health training.
जब ये प्रोग्राम डिज़ाइन हुआ था तब ये भी सोचा था कि हम बाहर से भी लोगों को ला सकते थे जो एक्सपीरियंस्ड भी होते और वो जाकर बोल सकते थे कि आप आइए, बट शायद वो जो ट्रस्ट एक चीज़ होती है कि एक वो होता है कि ये तो मेरी बस्ती की है तो इनकी बात हम सुन सकते हैं, वो चीज़ नहीं आ पाती।
हम जाकर लोगों को फील्ड पर जाकर ये बताते हैं कि किस दिन कौन सी OPD लगी है, किसके कब आना है, कौन से पेशेंट को कौन से डॉक्टर को दिखाना चाहिए और कितने बच्चों को टीके लगे हैं या नहीं लगे हैं। 0 से 5 साल तक के बच्चों को सभी को टीके लगे, यही कोशिश होती है हमारी। पहले मैं इतना शर्माती थी, मैं किसी से बात नहीं कर पाती थी, तो कॉन्फिडेंस लेवल भी बढ़ा है, टाइम टेबल भी डिसिप्लिन में आ गया है। पहले कोई टाइम टेबल नहीं था, कभी भी सो उठो, खाना खाया पकाया, यही सब था। अब तो 9:30 बजे से पहले सारा काम खत्म कर यहाँ आना है।
From the onset of the project, there was an acute need to provide education for all age groups. The municipal primary school was largely rebuilt in 2010 and has innovative learning spaces all around the building. It today serves as a model school with over 600 children studying here during the day. Also, parents have been brought back into the education system and dormant school management committees were lulled out of their stony sleep into action. More than 300 children from the Basti are also learning English as part of the US Embassy Access Micro Scholarship Program. And it is turning their lives around in every imaginable way.
Why does she hate Priya? There is a reason. And that is why we have which word? We have because.
This program is just like a magic for everyone who lives in Nizamuddin or who are the part of this program. And for me especially it is because I was very weak in English before because I do not get that much marks that I can. Because I know that something is hiding me, but I don't know how I have to overcome with this. But this program gave me the chance to tackle over this, and I found something special within me.
Career prospects bloomed. Also on offer are courses in papercraft and embroidery.
The kind of public-private partnership that this project, the way it is functioning, I do not think or I do not know of any PPP partnership doing so well. This has reinforced my faith and the faith of the civic body to say that if we get good partners, like the trust that we have, wonders can be done.
It all comes together at the Apni Basti annual Mela. One of the many business opportunities for the Basti's home-based entrepreneurs. Suddenly, a space of neglect is being turned into a space of opportunity. To find skills that had long been lost and turn those into opportunities for work are a tremendous source of pride for the people of Nizamuddin. Some from the Basti became artists, while others became the suave heritage volunteers for interested tourists, trained in the history and culture of the place, and most of all, in the ever so intricate and important art of storytelling. And so it is, the real romance of Nizamuddin is back. Ask its people and they will tell you how their lives have suddenly been illuminated by a grand old civilization. Of how a connect has finally been made between so many different worlds that their lives today are richer materially and culturally. In the sound of their laughter and in the light in their eyes, you can see the real revival. Not just of the buildings and monuments of the great Sufi saint Ghazrat Nizamuddin Aulia, but of the essence of his message.